A thug slapped an 81-year-old veteran in a diner. Hour later, his son walked in with Hell's Angels. The rain outside the roadside diner beat against the windows like a restless drummer. Inside, the lunch crowd had thinned, leaving only a few scattered regulars and the comforting hiss of the coffee machine. At the counter sat Henry Hank Lawson, an 81-year-old Korean War veteran with a spine as straight as the flagpole outside. He sipped black coffee, his weathered hands steady despite the years. The bell over the door jingled and a young man swaggered in, mid-20s, all leather jacket and bad attitude. He barked an order without looking at the waitress and scanned the room like he owned it. When his gaze landed on Hank's old service cap resting on the stool beside him, a smirk curled on his lips. "Nice hat, old man," he sneered, stepping closer. "You one of those glory chasers, huh? Think the world owes you?" Before anyone could react, the stranger's hand cracked across Hank's cheek. The sound split the diner's quiet like a gunshot. Coffee cups rattled. Someone gasped. Hank didn't flinch. He simply placed his cap back on his head and met the young man's eyes with calm steel. "Son," he said evenly, "I fought so you could live free, even to make a fool of yourself." The thug scoffed, shoved past a waitress, and stormed out. The diner buzzed with shocked whispers. Hank dabbed at the faint redness on his cheek and went back to his coffee as if nothing had happened. An hour later, the door chimed again. This time, the air shifted. A group of broad-shouldered bikers filled the doorway, black vests patched with the unmistakable winged skull of the Hell's Angels. The man at the center pulled off his helmet, revealing a square-jawed face and kind blue eyes. He spotted Hank and broke into a wide grin. "Dad!" The diner fell silent. This was Jake Lawson, Hank's only son, an ex-Marine turned long-haul biker. He strode forward and wrapped his arms around his father in a bear hug. "Did you wait long?" Hank smiled. "Just long enough to finish my coffee." The waitress hurried over, whispering about the earlier incident. Jake's expression darkened. "Someone hit you?" Hank nodded once, calm as ever. Jake glanced at his crew, and for a moment the room seemed to tense with unspoken threat. But Hank laid a gentle hand on his son's arm. "Let it go," he said softly. "Anger won't teach him anything. Maybe kindness will." Jake exhaled, the edge in his eyes softening. "What do you want to do?" "Eat," Hank replied. "With my boy." The bikers settled in, ordering pies and coffee, their laughter filling the room with unexpected warmth. They tipped big, helped the waitress clear tables, even fixed a flickering neon light outside before they left. Later that evening, as the last plates were being cleared, the door creaked open once more. The young thug from earlier stepped inside, eyes downcast. He looked smaller now, as if the weight of his choices had finally caught up. I'm sorry," he mumbled, voice cracking. "Saw you with those bikers. Didn't know you were who you are." Hank studied him for a long moment, then patted the seat across the booth. "Sit, share a coffee. Tell me your story." The young man hesitated, then sat. He spoke of a broken home, lost jobs, and anger that never found a place to rest. Hank listened, truly listened without judgment. By the time the pot of coffee was empty, the stranger's shoulders had dropped, as though some heavy burden had been set down. "You fought for us," the young man said quietly. "I've been fighting everyone." Hank smiled. "Maybe it's time to fight for something instead." As the diner lights dimmed, the boy left with a promise to change, and the old veteran watched him disappear into the night. Kindness had done what fists never could. The door closed behind the young man, leaving only the soft clink of dishes as the waitress wiped down the counter. Jake watched through the diner window, the tail lights fading into the night. "Dad," he said quietly, "I don't know how you stay so calm." "If anyone touched me like that." He shook his head. Hank chuckled, the sound low and warm. "Took me a lifetime to learn, son. A quick temper just builds more walls. Listening builds bridges." The waitress set a slice of cherry pie between them, on the house. "For the bravest man I've met all year," she said with a shy smile. Hank waved a grateful hand. The brave ones are those who keep this place running day after day." He looked at his son. "And those who choose kindness when it costs them something." Jake took a slow breath, as if the lesson were settling deep. "You know," he said, "maybe we should come back next week. Same night. Maybe that kid will show up again." Hank's eyes twinkled. "If he does, we'll buy him dinner." They lingered a little longer, talking about old memories, about the grandkids Jake hoped to have someday, and the quiet things that made a life worth living. When they finally stepped into the cool night air, the rain had stopped. A faint silver moon lit the empty highway, and for a moment it felt as though the world itself had softened. As the roar of motorcycles faded into the distance, the diner returned to its gentle rhythm, but something had changed. An unspoken reminder that even in a hard world, one calm voice and an open heart can start a ripple.